Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Every Tuesday, Best Moms has a boot camp. This is the last boot camp of the entire cycle. So Eddie and Max, you guys might be pretty close to the award winners because it was like 13 sessions straight. And I know some of us went back, recorded them. So thanks for everyone who has hopped on this entire rotation. But today, Alan's going to be reviewing for sale by owners. As we always state at Best Moms, it's very important to have multiple pillars of generating business, from online prospecting to social media, SOI, etc. Right? And then there's for sale by owners. So while Alan's getting situated, Toby's going to share a little trick on what she does on Zillow to get alerted when Facebook or when there's a new for sale by owner that just lists. But the other thing I kind of wanted to just ask for keywords from anyone who's on right now. I've been obsessed with competing commitments. So the competing commitment typically is ingrained in your head to prevent you from doing something. Example, I want to go to the gym. The competing commitment is I like to sleep. I don't want to wake up early and I'm going to feel tired afterwards, right? So I have to overcome those 2-3 things in order for me to accomplish the other one. So for anyone who's never called for sale by owners or thought about it, but it's kind of scary, what would you say are like the top 3 competing commitments for it? So I'll start with you, Eddie. What do you think the competing commitment is for you to pick up that phone and dial in on calling for sale by owners? Like, what's the scary? What's the fear in it? If another word for it.
I mean, I would say what a lot of people have fear is they're gonna get cussed out. It's gonna get stuff, get their feelings hurt. I guess in a way, that's what a lot of agents I would say don't do it because of those reasons. I would say just don't take it personally because you'll always run into those negative people.
Yep. Okay. How about you, Toby? What's the biggest competing commitment in your opinion on calling for sale by owners?
Well, it is a little nerve-wracking because they're obviously have chosen to not use an agent. So now you've got to go in there and convince them of why they need to, or go with them with some offer that they can't refuse because they've already got it in their mind that they don't need you. So you've got to switch it. It can be it gets you nervous. I understand, it does. It makes people apprehensive to pick up that phone. But they're a great source.
All right, that's a good one. Yeah, I think everybody for sure is intimidated. For me, it's like intimidation. It's like going into a listing appointment alone, let alone for someone who already said, I don't want a real estate agent. So to kind of overcome that is definitely nerve-wracking for sure. And one last one, Sergio, what do you think is another competing commitment in calling for sale by owners? What's scary about it?
Probably not having the right words at the time of calls.
Oh, that's a good one. All right, very specific. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, a nice little challenge that I would probably suggest on anything that you're learning new is being very honest and transparent with yourself on what is the competing commitment that I'm going to face. What's the hardest part about overcoming this next pillar I'm about to target. So hopefully today, guys, you will learn how to overcome these obstacles and this fear of calling for sale by owners. But Alan, before you start, I'm going to pick on Toby for 1 minute. You gave us a real big aha moment the other day on how you get alerted when there's a new for sale by owner. What is that secret nugget of yours?
It's actually super easy. If you go out just to Zillow.com, and you go up to the top across the bar, it will say buy. And if you click on buy, there's a drop down box. And one of the options in the drop down box is for sale by owner. So when you click that, then it pulls up your search. And in your search bar, you can put Scottsdale, you could put Phoenix, you could put a city name, you could actually put a specific zip code. It doesn't matter. And whenever you save that search, it also pulls up another little box that asks you, how often do you want this? And there is a box that is instant. So the minute a for sale by owner of that zip code or that city hit Zillow, you're now alerted in your inbox, in your email, that it's hit the market, and it gives you that criteria. And the cool part about this is is for sale by owners are super hungry in that first little bit to talk to anyone, because the thing is, most people calling for sale by owners are other agents. So they're going to get annoyed in about a day. It doesn't take them long to get frustrated because so many agents work the for sale by owner list. So the sooner you can get a hold of them, the more likely you're going to have a good conversation with them. And so this tends to help a lot.
Thank you,
Oh,
Toby. Perfect.
I love it. Thank you so much, Toby, for that
welcome.
little hack right there. But I would have to politely and respectfully disagree with you on the
Yeah.
fact most of the agents do not work for sale by owners. In fact, probably less than 1% of the agents work for sale by owner circuit. Same thing with expireds and cancels.
That's
You know,
what's funny. They're getting that many phone calls and it's only 1%. That shows you there's a lot of people out there. So you got to hustle, because those are good for the picking. They are a great source. So there's no reason not to be calling.
They are an amazing source, right? I mean, I tell you, for sale by owners, probably for me, probably the best listing source.
Mhm.
Like my first 5.5, 6 years in business, man, I listed a lot of for sale by owners, and most of them will have a conversation with you. Most of them will be okay for you to stop by and take a look at the house, right? And especially right now with the tools that we got, guys, the fact that we can actually show them the offer that we got from Open Door or OfferPad, I mean, right there, you know, you can go in there by just saying, look, I got an offer for you. I got an offer from you, a legit offer from an investor that it can close in the next 15, 20 days. So it's huge. All right, guys. So let's start with the for sale by owner session class. Super excited about this one. That's, like I said, it's one of my favorite classes to teach. I think that if you drop me right now in the middle of like Arkansas or middle of Oklahoma, and I don't have a sphere, I don't have any friends, I don't have any past clients, I would do two things pretty much on a daily basis. I would hold open houses and I would call for sale by owners. Those are the two things. Even for sale by owners, what I would do is if I get that listing with a couple of conditions, I will lower my commission, but in exchange, they will allow me to hold open houses on a daily basis. That's how I'm going to be able to scale my business very quickly. Open houses and for sale by owners for listings. All right, guys. So why do we actually want more listings? I share this all the time, guys. Listings equal leverage. You have more time working the sellers than you do working the buyers. In reality, if you think about it, even right now with the market shifting, if you price your listing correctly, you're going to sell it very quickly, right? 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, or 15 hours is spent working with the seller. Versus if you're working with a buyer, okay, here's the situation. Even right now, you're still going to be spending time showing homes because there are more homes on the market, more options for the buyers. Buyers are a little bit more pickier. They're choosier, if you will. They like this property. They put it under contract. Something happens during the business stage. They cancel it. They go over another property. So it takes time. Typically, it's anywhere between 30 to 50 hours working with the buyer. With the seller, it's much less than that. Here's another caveat. Here's another leverage tip. Over 80% of the sellers, from my experience, and I probably listed over 300 plus homes in the last 9 years, over 80% of them ended up being buyers as well. So you're not just getting one transaction out of this ordeal, you're getting two, possibly even multiple transactions, because if you leverage it correctly, and right now in the last 4 months or so, guys, you can leverage your listings. Before that, you put it on the market, within 2, 3, 4 hours, you get multiple offers on it, or you cannot even hold your open house. Your for sale sign is essentially useless because nobody's really calling that, because the house just goes under contract very quickly. So the fact that you're going to be able to leverage that listing by, again, having a sign, open houses, generating some possible leads from Facebook and Instagram when you're marketing and promoting it, and also getting referrals on top of it, one listing can generate, I don't know, 2, 3, potentially 4, 5, 6 commission checks. And that's huge, right? So this way you guys know, I got like listings for sale by owners where I had to significantly lower my commission with the goal of leveraging that listing as much as I could by holding open houses and then picking up listings in the same community a month later or 2 or 3 months later and charging a regular commission. Okay, so it's okay sometimes to get a little haircut, take a step back, if you will, but get that listing, guys, but make sure you price it correctly. All right, so this is a huge thing for me. This is what I got from reading the $1 Million Real Estate Agent book. Before I even got licensed, a huge takeaway for me was the fact that everything starts with the seller leads. The seller leads will be converted into listings. And when you have listings, you will have leverage. You will have buyers, okay? And that's big, guys. If you really would like to, continue to scale your business, grow your business, you gotta have listings in your portfolio. These are all seller lead sources out there that are available. Again, you have some Sphere. We got somebody like Robert Tolnay here, top producing agent. Majority of his business are coming from Sphere. We have agents that are generating quite a bit of business from farming. But here's my thing. For sale by owners, it doesn't require a lot of resources. You don't need to have a big Sphere. Okay, with cancels and expireds, there are more of them right now than there were about 8 or 9, 10 months ago. But here's the reality with those, right? When you call them, most of the time, they will not be really talkative with you. They will not be very open and having you stop by and look at the house. They just got burned by listing with another agent for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6, 7, 8 months. It did not sell. And now they're getting bombarded that morning by a bunch of agents that want to get the listing, right? So my experience with expires and cancels, there's an opportunity there. There's a way of generating business, but it's a much harder lead source to really develop and work on. Again, it's doable, but I'd rather start with for sale by owners initially. Okay, so let's continue with for sale by owners. Only 20 to 30%, and this is an interesting stat, guys. This is from National Association of Realtors. Okay, only 20 to 30% of for sale by owners sell it on their own. And that number probably would decrease with the market shifting, with more and more inventory that is out there. You're probably going to see that number less than 20%. Okay, so over 70% of the for sale by owner listings usually then go listed with the realtor. Some of them may possibly go off the market because they decided to change, their plans, whatever that is. But most of the homes that you see right now on Zillow or any other website are probably going to be listed with the realtor in the first 15 to 35, maybe possibly 40 days. So keep that in mind. That's a huge, huge opportunity there. Most of the for sale by owners will offer some sort of commission, right? They may offer up to 3%. Again, with the market shifting right now, you as a real estate sales professional can bring a lot more value. A year ago, it was a different case. A year ago, for sale by owner, for the most part, knew that, hey, if I put my house on the market, I'm going to get probably buyers writing offers. I'm going to get agents bringing their buyers. I don't really have to pay commission to list it. Nowadays, it's different, okay? So you got to be able to educate the for sale by owner that there's a lot of value that you're going to bring to the table in addition to just listing it their house. So they're going to be paying your commission. In some cases, it will be 3%. In most of the cases, probably 2.5%, 1.5%. You can negotiate that. It's completely up to you, as long as it makes sense financially, of course. Most for sale by owners want to, have you bring a qualified buyer, right? And that's one of the reasons why they're trying to, work with you. And like Toby said, and Toby actually is an expert when it comes to working with the investors, like Open Door. You can bring an offer from the Open Door. Now, they're not going to buy every property out there, so they have their own box that they work within, right? And you got to be able to figure that out. But again, like Open Door will write an offer. And that offer is going to be good probably for about 7 or 8 days, I believe. Toby, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it 7 days, 8 days, or 14 days?
7 days. It's a 7 day, then it expires. But as long as you communicate with them, they'll even extend it sometimes. You just got to be in communication.
Right. So they will write an offer. you as an agent will get a 1% referral fee from the Open Door. Okay, and I just had an experience, actually a really, really good experience with Open Door. I sold one of my investment properties. I just didn't want to deal with showings, and there were a few things that need to be done inside of the house and everything like that. So I closed on that deal. It took less than 30 days to close it, and it was a very streamlined experience. I was super happy with them, and they actually gave me probably more than I would get in the traditional market. But they also paid me a 1% commission, a referral fee on top of that. Right, so kind of keep that in mind, guys. You know, when you got somebody like a for sale by owner or possibly even expired or cancel listing that says like, hey, do you have a buyer or bring me a buyer? Yeah, absolutely. See if you can get an offer from Open Door, right, and bring that offer to them to get your door, your foot in the door. So the goal for you is to find out their motivation, time frame, and if they have an agent, right? So the conversation is very simple. Again, like Sergio, I believe, was saying, well, I don't know what to say or how to say it, what questions to ask. Really, your goal is to find out why they're selling it, okay? What's their motivation? You want to find out what their time frame is, and ultimately, if they have an agent already in mind. Some of them will have like their neighbor who they're committed to, or maybe their friend or a family member. So you need to find that out if they have an agent that they are committed to or not. If not, they're a fair game. Even if they do have an agent, sometimes they tell you that. It doesn't mean they're committed to it, okay? But the key thing to remember is you got to get their motivation, you got to get their time frame. Easy to preview the property as well. Again, like 90 probably, well, not 90, I would say about 70 to 75% of the phone calls that I've made to for sale by owners, I was able to go out there and preview the properties, right? And the conversation is fairly easy. You know, I call someone, you know, I introduce myself, I asked them about the house, right? And then, you know, after a few questions, I basically say, look, I'm planning to be in the area tomorrow. You know, is it okay for me to swing by and take a look at it and see if this is going to be a good fit for one of my buyers? Right, that would be my conversation. It would be a 2 or 3, 4 or 5 minute conversation, and I would get an appointment. I'm not trying to sell anyone over the phone. I'm not trying to pick up a listing over the phone. I'm not trying to convince them that, hey, you know what? I'm the best real estate agent out there. I'm going to do a much better job than you do. For sale by owners don't care about that. They don't want to hear that. The reason they're for sale by owners because they feel like they can sell it on their own. Right? So when you're trying to convince them that you're going to be able to do a better job, which by the way, you will be able to do a better job because you're a professional, right? But that's not really the conversation you should have over the phone, at least from my experience. What works really is for sell by owner, sell it for free program, and creative commissions. I used that for about 5 or 6 years when I was picking up for sale by owners. I'll share with you guys in more detail what those are all about, which is really, really good. And that's going to really help you out tremendously. So simple conversation script. Why are they selling? Who wants to role play with me? Anybody wants to role play with me? You're going to be a for sale by owner. You're not going to be an agent, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Who is this?
Robert.
Is this Robert?
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Welcome back.
Thank you. Nobody wants to do it. I'll do it.
All right. Well, let's do it. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh man, I haven't really done this for a long time, so I'm probably just gonna.
It's okay, Alan. I've never done it, so you're good.
Oh my goodness gracious! All right, I just put myself on the spot, but let's do it, man. Look, again, none of us are perfect or anything like that, but we'll make it happen. Okay, ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. I was calling about the property on 1234 East Maple Street. Are you the homeowner?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wonderful. My name is Alan. I'm calling you from Best Homes Real Estate. If you don't mind, can you tell me a little bit more about your property?
Oh man, how many of you guys are gonna call me today?
Man, I tell you, there are 50,000+ agents out there. How many phone calls did you get?
You're my fourth.
Oh, wow, man, you're blessed. I tell you that. Out of 50,000, only 4 people actually want to sell your house. Everybody else probably on vacation.
I know, but I want to sell it on my own.
I love it. Yeah, and we can definitely help you to do so. Robert, I may have a buyer for your property, and he contacted me, wanted to know a little bit more about it. If you don't mind, can you kind of give me some details on it? What was done to the house in the last few years?
Sure. Yeah, we have new flooring that we put in. We painted it, and we're definitely it's the nicest house on the block for sure. We're the nicest home in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's awesome. So you replaced your floors, you said, right?
Yes.
What else?
We painted,
You paint it? Okay.
and our yard is always done. Once a month we get it done, and it's beautiful front and back.
Oh, wonderful. Do you have a pool in the back?
Yes, we do.
Oh, wonderful. And what about like kitchen and the bathrooms? Is it all updated?
It was updated when we bought the house, but we haven't done anything since.
And when did you buy the house?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. So it's pretty, what, 5-year-old house or it's older than that?
No, the house is 25 years old. We've had it for 5.
You had it for 5 years. Okay, got it. So the floors are updated, the house is painted, you got a beautiful backyard, you have a pool in the back, 2-car or 3-car garage?
2.
2-car garage. Okay, is there an RV gate on the side?
No, we don't have one.
Got it. Awesome. Robert, it sounds like you have a really, really nice house. Just out of curiosity, why do you guys want to sell it?
We're moving, and we just want to get our maximum profit out of it.
Oh, okay. Where are you guys heading?
To Wisconsin.
Oh, wow. Wisconsin, the cheese country.
Yes, my daughter loves football, and she wants to move out there to be closer to the football team.
The Packers?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So you guys are actually going to be living in Green Bay or outside of Green Bay?
Inside of Green Bay, yeah.
Inside. Awesome. All right. And what is your time frame, Robert? How soon do you want to be there?
We're not in a huge hurry. That's why we try to sell it ourselves to see if we can do it on our own and get more money in our pocket.
Gotcha. So reason you want to sell it on your own is because you just want to kind of get as much as possible in your pocket versus, not working with an agent, right? I mean, is it just, you guys want to just don't pay commission on it, or you don't want to work with agents at all?
Right. The market's been so good that we feel that if we can just get some people in here, we can get it sold and not have to pay that big fat commission you guys get.
When you say big fat commission, what do you have in mind?
Well, I don't know. You guys take, 2-3%, right?
2-3%? I thought it was like 6% now.
Exactly. That's what somebody told me. 5%.
Oh, Robert, you know what? I tell you a quick story, Robert. I worked with a seller and he tried to do it on his own, right? And when I walked into his house and we started talking about the commissions and everything like that, he said, man, I'm going to pay you the same amount that I would pay actually to buy like a truck. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, I'll pay you $32,000 if you sell my house. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So, but of course I didn't charge him that much. And our commissions are purely negotiable, and we'll kind of figure out if that's the case, if you feel like, we can help you to sell your house. But anyway, so just out of curiosity, Robert, you priced at $675,000, right? How did you come up with that price?
Well, I went on Zillow because we know that they're the most accurate in the business, and I priced it based on what they told me it's worth.
Man, I'm hoping you're not one of the Zillow employees or former employees.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you went by Zestimate.
Yes.
Or guesstimate.
Yes, and a couple of them that sold in the neighborhood, they were pretty close to that. And like I said, I really think our house is the nicest one in the neighborhood, so we can go a little higher.
I bet it is. So you went on Zillow, and the Zillow told you that it's $675,000.
Yes.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. All right. Awesome. But as far as getting a complete price assessment from from an appraiser or from maybe a real estate sales professional, that's something that you did not do.
No.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Okay, wonderful. Robert, a quick question for you. Are you available during the day or during the evening? How's your schedule like in the next couple of days?
For what?
Well, I would like to swing by and kind of get a little visual of your house and see if this may be a good fit for one of my buyers. Maybe 10-minute, 15-minute visit, the most.
Okay, yeah, sure. In the afternoon.
Would that work for you?
Sure.
Awesome, very good. What, tomorrow at around 2 or 4 o'clock works for you better?
4 o'clock would be great. Do
4
I have to
o'clock.
pay you anything?
The what, I'm sorry?
Do I have to pay you anything?
Oh, no, not necessarily. Absolutely. If we decide to make this deal happen, if the buyer likes to write an offer and anything like that, we can probably negotiate a commission. Would that work for you?
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. And if you don't mind, I also would like to kind of share a few things about us, about my team and what we've been doing and how we've been helping for sell-by owners to get the most out of selling their house. I'm just going to leave some of the information about us. So if for some reason, and again, it may or may not happen, but a week from now or 2 weeks from now, you decide to start interviewing agents, I would love to have an opportunity to have a seat at the table. Would that be fair?
Sure.
Okay, wonderful, great. So I will then see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Let me just confirm your address. It's 1234 East Maple Street.
Yes.
Okay, Robert, and what's a good email address for you?
That's okay. I'd rather not give that out. We'll see you here and we'll talk about it.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because I want to send you my contact information so you know that I'm legit. I'm not going to spam you or anything like that.
All right.
What is it?
Robert@cheeseheads.com.
Right on. And Robert, is it just going to be you or your wife is going to be there present as well?
She'll be here, but she doesn't like people. We'll see how it goes.
No, I don't blame her. My wife doesn't like people also. Yeah. She doesn't like people and she doesn't like dogs lately. But all right, cool. Very good. Well, Robert, again, my name is Alan. I'm with Best Homes Real Estate. I'll send you my contact information. I'll send you the calendar invite. And then I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. at your house. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Cool. Very good. Well, have a good day.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you being nice and easy on me. All right, guys. So any feedback, any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, me.
There was the part where he had asked about commission and he was like, I think I pay you 3. And you said, no, it's actually around 6. It's negotiable. And you told a story, excuse me, you told a story about the truck.
Yeah.
Do you mind me asking? I guess I didn't get the reason why you told that story because I didn't feel like you came around and explained. It just kind of justified to his point that you're charging him a lot of money, if that makes sense.
Well, we want him to think that we're going to be charging a lot of money. And the reason being is because that you don't want to lead on a phone call that you're going to be the cheapest agent in town. Right? Mm-hmm. In fact, the reason I went that way is because I really wanted to make a joke out of it. I didn't really want to go to brass tacks about it and start talking about the commissions over the phone. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense?
Gotcha.
Right? So I just joked about the fact that there are 50,000+ agents out there and only he got 4 phone calls. That was meant to make a joke out of it, right? Like, here's what happens a lot of times when somebody says, man, you're agent number 8 that called me this morning, right? And here's what most of the agents do. They get in a shell, right? They're now thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's confronting me. This guy's being an asshole. This guy doesn't want to talk to me, right? Here's what I do. I said, hey, you know what? I'm only number 8. There are 50,000 agents out there. And there are only 8 that want to actually sell your house. Same thing with the commissions, right? What I ended with the commission, I said, hey, my commission is what?
Negotiable.
Is negotiable, right? At the end of the day, I said, we want to make sure that we get you the most amount of money for your house. My commission is purely negotiable. Right? And they understand at the end of the day that there's going to be a commission involved. So with the truck situation conversation, by the way, I would probably not use this all the time, just depends on the conversation, but because Robert and I had a very easy conversation and Robert was not really pushing back or anything like that, I was maybe a little bit more joking or facetious in some ways, you know. But if you're going to have somebody who's literally like trying to kind of bulldoze you with a conversation, you probably don't want to go there. But again, that's something that I just decided to use, right? By the way, I could have continued with that conversation as far as the commission goes. I could have probably went into the weeds a bit and shared the entire story. The entire story was the fact that, yes, I went and the house was listed for sale by owner for $625,000. And when they told me, hey, why should I pay $32,000 in commissions? They were assuming I'm going to be charging 6% commission. Now, I listed that listing, I believe, for either 1.75 or 1.8 on the list side and 2.75 or 2.5% on the buy side. Okay, but here's what happened. They were already entertaining two offers before I listed that house, one for $595 and one for $605. When we listed the house, we went from $625 to $670, and we sold it for $665. So they entertained $595, I got them $665. Even though they paid my commission, they still walked away with more money. And I represented them as their agent. So I could have shared that story with them over the phone, but that means now I'm trying to get a listing. And I didn't really want to go there. I just wanted to have a conversation, build a rapport significant enough that I can then have the opportunity to go and actually see them in person. When I see them in person, I can continue revisiting that conversation. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Alan, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say you call for sale by owner, they're like, yeah, we'll list with you, but we're not gonna, you can list, but we're not paying you anything. We want to keep all the money to ourselves. What would you say in that case?
Well, let's talk about it. Let's see how we can make this happen. Look, your goal is to get in that door, right? That's where I think, like, you see some of these coaches, and I have to politely disagree with them on that. They are coaching you up or coaching the agents up to get that listing appointment over the phone. I tried that, and it's almost impossible to get that. And you're going to lose a lot of opportunities that way, trying to do that over the phone. For sale by owners, the reason they try to sell it on their own is because they know, or at least they feel like they can sell it on their own. Now, it's almost kind of like, I give you an analogy, guys. Who's here actually tried to do something inside of your house where you watch it on YouTube or you watch it on one of the DIY channels and you're like, you know what, I can do this. Like, who tried to lay tile in their house? Who tried to build a cabinet in their house? Mm-hmm. Right? At first, it starts like, oh, you know, I got all the materials, I got the video, I got the instructions, I got this, I got that. And then you try it and you do maybe a piece of it or a quarter of it. And like, man, this is hard. And things just doesn't look the same, or I'm missing certain things, right? It's the same thing with for sale by owners. They think by putting a sign outside and then plasting it on Zillow, they're going to get all these buyers. They're going to be waiving these offers. They're all going to be super qualified. No, that's the opposite. Most of those buyers understand they can probably get an advantage with for sale by owner. Most of them are not even qualified. Most of them are going to try to lowball. You have the investors that are going to lowball. Most of them are going to waste their time. After about a few days, after a few weeks, they're going to come to the realization, especially right now when things are much more difficult to sell, that, you know what, they need professional help. And that's where you come in. So I'm not really too worried about the commission piece of it initially. Eddie, going back to your question, for me, it's all about the motivation. If they tell you over the phone that they're serious about selling the home, okay, I want to be there. If they're not committed to another agent, I want to be there. I will figure out the commission when I get there by providing and bringing value to the table. That's the way I approach for sale by owners, because at the end of the day, most of them will not pay you full retail commission. You got to forget that game. In fact, right now, your sphere will not pay you full retail commission, or your farm is not going to do the same exact thing. Sellers are definitely much more educated, much more privy, right? Now, things may change because, again, the market is turning and they're going to start seeing more and more value working with somebody professional like you. Okay, but it takes time usually. But you got to be very creative with the commissions. We have to be very creative with that. But think about the long game with for sale by owner, not the short game. The long game is the fact that you can leverage that listing. And again, that's the biggest condition, by the way. I need to make sure I can hold open houses. I need to make sure it's going to be accessible. I need to make sure that I can put a sign outside. Like, all of those things are must. The one that I mentioned to you guys that I listed for 670, one of my conditions was the fact that me and my team will be holding at least 3 open houses a week. 3 open houses a week. And guess what? In the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we held 3 to 4 open houses a week. And out of those open houses, we picked up 2 additional listings in the same neighborhood. One for 700, one for 790. And 2 of those listings, we did not discount our commission at all. It was 6%. I have another neighborhood right there in Arrowhead Ranch on 75th Avenue, south of Utopia. Okay, we picked up a listing, which was a for sale by owner. We picked up a listing. And because we held open houses pretty much every single day, we picked up 3 additional listings on the same street within 30-day time frame. In fact, we had neighbors calling us, asking that what the hell is going on with the neighborhood, why everybody's selling. It's okay to discount with conviction of, hey, you know what, I got to leverage this thing and generate additional business out of it. And also keep in mind, for sale by owners, also going to be buyers as well. Any questions about the script, guys? And again, I wouldn't even call it a script. This is just an outline of things that you want to ask during your conversation. Again, why are they selling? I usually ask that question after they give me a description of the house. When they tell me they're selling, they're usually going to tell me, well, you know what, we're moving somewhere or we're buying somewhere. And then I follow up with the question saying, hey, ideally, how soon do you want to be there? Or how soon do you want to move there? Or how soon do you want to buy there? Right? And they will tell me, well, most of the time it's going to be, well, we have to sell this house in order for us to move or buy. Then I ask them, hey, I see you guys are trying to sell it on your own. Is it because you guys want to save some money on the commission, or because you hate to deal with the realtors? Most of the time, over 90+% of the time, they're going to say, I just want to keep my money in the pocket. I don't want to pay out a commission. On some occasions here and there, you will have homeowners, the sellers, that say, I don't want to deal with the realtor. I had a bad experience with a realtor. Don't call me, don't deal with me, I'll sell it on my own. It's gonna happen. You have to make a decision when you want to pursue that opportunity or not. Now, the reason I ask them how they came up with the price is not because I really want to know why they price so high or so low. The reason I ask that question is because I want to know if there's an agent involved in that relationship. Robert said, you know what, I went on Zillow and That's how I came up with the price. And plus there are 2 other properties that recently sold that are similar to mine, but mine was much nicer, is much nicer. He did not mention an agent. That's a good thing. But the reason I asked that question is because they may come back and say, look, an agent gave me that price. Oh, great. Is this someone that you're related to? Is that one of your neighbors? Are you committed to that agent? The reason we ask that question is because we don't want to go there and they say, well, my mother-in-law is an agent and she's going to sell my house. It's a no-win situation. Unless, of course, you want him to piss off his mother-in-law, which I wouldn't mind doing. Just joking. So that's really why you have all of these questions that you guys are asking, right? And these are probing questions. Again, nowhere in this conversation or nowhere in this script, we are selling ourselves. We are selling our services. We are not feature dumping. We are not benefit dumping. We're not tool dumping. We're not trying to say we're going to get them $10 more or $10,000 more. None of that. We're not selling ourselves here. We're not. All we're doing is we're asking questions, developing a rapport, writing things down so you remember, and then your ultimate goal is to get in front of them face to face in person. Okay. Any questions, guys?
Alan, I just
No
want to
questions?
add. Well, I was just going to add while
I want
you
us
were
to be
talking-
interactive. So if you guys ask me.
Wait, could you hear me?
Toby, you're
Okay. Yeah,
oh, okay, I can hear you now. Yep.
Okay, good. No, I was just going to add that while you were talking, I was getting emails of updates of things hitting the market. And one of them that I just got was it had a huge price drop of 100K, which is probably on par with these for sale by owners. But it's also another reason to call them and to follow up because they think they can get all this money, but we as agents can actually bring them more. So it's just another little opportunity when you sign up for these things for conversations and another reason to call.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Now, not every agent is created equal. All right. We're all professionals here. You know, we do our due diligence. We do our research. We set expectations. We will market and promote their listing. All of that has to be presented to them. And again, if you remember, guys, at the end, when I was finishing up with Robert, there are a couple of things that I made sure I had, right, and was able to share, right? Number one, I wanted to make sure I have their email address. Okay, I wanted to have their email address because I want to send my information to them, including the link to my reviews, to my client testimonials. All of that has to be in that email. That's why, I don't know if you guys remember, I did a listing 101 class about a month and a half ago. And I told you one of the key things that you got to work on is your pre-listing packet, your PLP. And that pre-listing packet has to be printed, and it also has to be digital. And that includes your email signature. That should have links to your Zillow, to your Google reviews, to your Yelp reviews if you have them, to the videos of your client testimonials. How do you get client testimonials? How do you get most of them? Well, here's a little hack. Okay, every time you have a Google Meet or Zoom with that client, go over that settlement statement with that client. And at the end of the settlement statement, where they're actually getting the money from the title escrow, right? From the sale of their house, the proceeds, okay? Or let's say, for instance, they're in a process of purchasing the house. Here's what you ask them. Hey, if you don't mind, can you share with me your experience working with me? Can you just share it working with me? What was it like? And they will say great things about Robert. They're going to say great things about Eddie. They're going to say great things about Megan. They're going to say all the nice things about, and you can follow up with the questions like, what would you suggest or recommend anybody who's going to be using my services in the future? Something along those lines. But just that alone right there, because it is recorded, you can just take that piece of it, that piece of the section of that video, which can be 30 seconds, can be 60 seconds, can be 2 or 3 minutes, depending on your client, right? And now you use that as a testimonial, and you can post it on your website, you can post it on your social platforms, and now you can post it also in your email signature. And when you're sending this to the for sale by owner, guess what the for sale by owner is going to do? They're going to look at your signature. They're going to click the links to your review page, to your website, and to also your testimonials, where they're going to be able to hear your client's experience with you. Again, you're not asking them for a listing. You're just sharing your information, right? And then when you come there, when you actually show up, make sure you have something with you that you can leave behind. You definitely want to have your pre-listing packet with you. You want to have all of your marketing services with you. You want to have a copy, a sample copy of the purchase contract and addendums and everything else that comes with it with you. The title company will do it for you. Why you want to have that? Because you want to show it to them how much it involves or how much it takes to get their house under contract, and then from the contract to actually closing. Like if then they're going to look at the contract book and they see all of these pages of legal stuff, terms and conditions, they're going to look like, oh my gosh, this is all overwhelming. We need help. You want that with your information on it. That's got to be done. Okay. But the more information you send them, the better it is. And that's why I always ask, hey, is it okay for me to leave something behind? Is it okay for me to share something that, hey, who knows, maybe 2 weeks from now, when you decide to kind of hire an agent, maybe I'll have a seat at the table. I'm asking them constantly, right? And the reason I do that is because I don't want them to feel like, man, this guy here to try to sell himself. That's why I do it over the phone. And just ask for the permission. All right, guys, bring them an offer from one of the iBuyers. Again, that's another technique. Now, it's not 100%. You're going to have some situations where the iBuyers are not going to be able to buy it. If it's 50 plus, 55 plus community, if it's a condo, if it's probably over $600,000, $700,000 range. I don't know what their buying scope right now, but that's an option. That's a tool in a toolbox that you may want to use. Okay, here's very important. When you at the house, okay, treat this almost like it's a listing appointment. Treat it as a listing appointment. Focus on making a connection first. Okay, what you want to do is you want to ask them to really show you around. Always come in, always put my briefcase next to the table, right? Lots of energy, smiling, asking how they're doing, introducing myself, and then asking them if they can show me the house. It's very important that you ask them to do so. There are going to be times when they don't know what to do. There are going to be times when they're going to say, oh, why don't you look around and I'll be waiting for you. So you know what? You guys know your house the best. You want to sell this house? Show me what you guys have done to it. Let me take some notes, right? So focus on making a connection. Find something in common with them. Right? If you see some pictures where they're playing golf and you're a golfer, talk about that. If you see some pictures of pets, dogs, and you got dogs, find something in common there. If you see kids and you have kids similar age, talk about that. Find something ideally in common that you can have a conversation with them about. It's all about building a rapport. Again, reiterate why they're trying to sell it on their own. Okay, just ask the same type of questions. Don't think for a second that you're being redundant. It's not about being redundant. It's about making sure that you're developing a rapport and making connection with them by asking them questions. It's all about you asking them questions and have them talk. It's not about you trying to sell yourself or convince yourself or try to offer all of these solutions without building any type of rapport with them first. Now, at the end of the showing, right, this is where you're trying to basically find out, right? So asking them why they try to sell it on your own, that's a perfect segue, okay, in trying to now insert yourself as a real estate sales professional and try to help them with their real estate needs. Okay, now it can be the commission, it can be the fact that they're just testing the markets, it can be the fact that they don't like to work with the agents, whatever that reason is. Now you are already prepared because you asked that question over the phone to give your pitch. And usually the pitch is going to be a lot about the commission structure. It's all going to be about, hey, you guys are charging too much and we don't want to pay that much. They're willing to pay something, but they just don't want to pay too much of it. So you got to find a common ground, lead with value, but find a common ground where both of you feel like you want something. And that's the key thing to remember. Now, it can be the fact that they have underpriced their listing and you feel like you can get more out of the listing. So by raising the listing price, you can put some commission in that spread. It can be the fact that they're not getting any showings, right? They're not getting any showings. They've been on the market for 3 weeks. They only had one showing, okay? It can be the reason why. The price can be the reason, the fact that they're not marketing, maybe they're not, the pictures are not good. You can talk about professional photos. You can talk about, listing it on hundreds, maybe possibly thousands of websites, right? How do you list the house on thousands of websites, guys? How do you do that? That's a question for you. If you go and you talk to the seller and you tell to the seller, look, Mr. Seller, in a couple of days, 2, 3, 4 days, you will see your property on thousands of websites. Is it really realistic?
It is, isn't it? Because it goes everywhere. I mean, once it goes on MLS, it goes everywhere. Bingo. So the way we say it is once it goes on MLS, it's going to go on thousands of websites. And here's what I'm going to do for you, Mr. Seller. About 2 days after we go on the market, I will send you a link to all of these websites that carry your property. Is that something that would be helpful to you? Yes. How do we do that? Well, choose a listing on MLS, enter an address on Google, and you're going to be able to see all of the websites that carry that property. All of the IDX websites, the Redfins of the world, Realtor.coms, Zillows, they're all carried. And then there are thousands of other websites that do it. So you take that link, you can send that link, which can be very long, or you can put it in Bitly or one of the link shortening tools, and you send it to them and say, hey, Mr. Seller, just want to give you a quick update. This is what we have done in the last 2 or 3 days to market and promote your listing. Here are all the channels or all of the distribution websites that are currently listing your house. Now, how are you going to look now? You're going to look like a professional, right? So that's really something where you have to identify what's really their pain point is, what's holding them back, not selling with the agent. And that can be the fact that it's commission, can be something else, but you guys have to figure this out. Okay? Any questions? Come on, guys. This is very, very, very important. I know some of you are calling for sale by owners, and some of you are going to start calling for sale by owners. Okay. If you have something that you want to ask or get a clarification on, I'm here for you.
Hey, Alan, Max here.
What's up, Max?
Hey, okay, good. I just wanted to ask you about the iBuyer offers, open door, whatever. Can we get those without the homeowner's knowledge at this point? I know I did it years ago, but I don't know, I seem to recall there was something on the website that made it that you had to have ownership or something to get the offer. So when
Toby,
you're
you want to
saying
answer that question?
make a
Yeah,
lot,
I can answer. No, anyone's able to. So whenever you go out to opendoor.com and you just click on sell and you just put in the address, and then it will ask you a few questions, and it will say, are you the realtor representing this agent? Is this a potential customer for you? Are you the actual homeowner? It asks you those things, and none of them are wrong answers. And it will tell you then when you click that box, you qualify for 1%. And you'll get the emails on it. And so you don't have to be connected with them, that you're able to take it to them. The only thing you need to know about Open Door is they do require videos. So you're going to need to go to the house and do an actual video to get a final number. And where if you use OfferPad, they actually prefer photos. So I whenever I do go to a house, I do both, just where I have them in case I need to get the other offer as well.
all right, good to know.
Yeah. I tell you guys, I really wanted to kind of try it on my own. Like I never done with any deal with Open Door, right? So I decided to sell my own property through Open Door. And I tell you, the entire process was very smooth, right? Hassle-free. Like I took pictures of the house, the inside, the outside, I uploaded, I filled out the disclosure document. They didn't do the inspection inside of the house. I think they sent somebody just to see the outside of the house. And then literally like 3-4 days before or 5 days before, they asked me to go back and take the pictures again with the drawers open of the kitchen and everything like that, which I did. And they sent the lockbox where I put the key in, and that's it. Like it was that easy.
And then they made an offer to you, and this with
So
about how much they were charged or reduce the offer.
That's a good question. So here's my offer, right? So the comps were like around 400,000. They offered me 420. They took their 5% fee, which was I think about 20,000 or so, 20 and change. And then for their inspection, I think they took another 4,000 to $4,500. So altogether, I think it was like about $25,000. So I netted about $395. And out of that, they paid me $4,000 my commission. So literally it was $20,000 to them. So if I were to list it traditionally, right, I would have to pay at least 2.5% to the buyer's agent. I would have to pay myself commission, and then I would have to do the inspection and do some repairs. And I know the house needs some work, right? It will probably be the same, if not even less, but then you have all these houses on the market and you have that uncertainty. This is a cash buyer. I was able to close in less than 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I seen the last couple of days, there have been posts on Facebook about Open Door getting fined $62 million and this, and you have all these agents rejoicing and they're super happy about it. I don't know. Honestly, I see Open Door as just another tool in our toolbox to use. Right?
Yeah.
People talk about them being competition. Well, if you look at it, then that means everybody else is a competition. Every agent is a competition. That company that starts with number 7 is a competition, right? At the end of the day, our competition is us. We have to look at the mirror. Our biggest competition is us, and more importantly, our limiting beliefs. And we have to be able to live in a world of abundance versus scarcity. Open Door is there for a reason. The reason it's popular is because sellers want guarantees, they want certainty, they want something that happens quickly without putting their house on the market, getting it showcase ready, all of those things, they just get it done. That's it. And you're always going to have that group of sellers out there. And we as the agents should have come up with something similar to that 10, 15 years ago. We didn't. So they did.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Not everybody wants to go that route, right?
Exactly.
Otherwise, all of us would not be in business. It'd just be Open Door or whatever, and that's it. if that's what everyone wanted.
Mhm.
Anyway, thank you very much for the feedback on that question.
You got it. You got it. Thanks, Toby.
Yeah, no problem. I did want to add, just so you understand the process a little about, you get an offer like Alan got. His was actually really good. And sometimes they come in really good. If you happen to put a property in and it's really low, don't let that discourage you from trying again. Sometimes that just happens. They're kind of all over the place. So keep trying. And plus, you never know the value of that cash offer to a seller. If it's a rental property or an estate sale or something they just really need to move quickly. Or let's say I walked into one listing, they had 9 cats and 4 babies. There was gates and stuff. It would have been a nightmare to try to show this house. They took that cash offer so fast, and I could have sold it for more for sure, but the value was there for them. So never assume, and just use it as a tool to go present it. And when Alan said they charged him for the inspection, it's not your typical inspection. They do a drive-by. And so it's just kind of the way they make money. They're going to drive by and they're going to give you repair fees. They've never even seen the inside, but it will range anywhere from usually like $2 to $10 grand, just depending on what they saw, or maybe they priced it and they're like, crap, I need to adjust that. So I have seen them go up and I've seen them go down. So just know that's kind of how the whole process works.
What's the discussion you're having with the potential lister or homeowner when you're there with an open door offer? Here's your offer. It looks to me like your house would comp at 400. Here's your offer from OfferPad. And where do they want to go? Well, if I wanted OfferPad, I would just have them come out and take care of it. Why are you trying to get me on an OfferPad deal? I guess I'm just looking for what would be some objections for them not going direct to OfferPad. Obviously OfferPad, or all of those, just using OfferPad as a general name. But we wouldn't do that unless we had a financial interest in it, right? So we've got the offer in hand. Hey, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, I will earn a 1% commission from this if we go this way, and it's okay. It'll be great for everyone. What's the discussion you're having around that? Because I've actually gotten the offers years and years ago, but never really had it get into a discussion about why don't we just do that instead of listing on the MLS?
Yeah, that's a great question, and probably Toby would be more qualified to answer that question because she actually dealt with it for a few years. Toby, do you wanna share your approach that you use with it?
Sure. Yeah, I'll share my approach because you're right. It is kind of a weird, if you think of it that way, it seems a little odd, but there's a ton of iBuyers out there and a lot of investors looking for properties. So whenever I call, I will say, if the open door offer or OfferPad comes back, I will say, I have a cash offer for you. But it is going to require photos, but I actually work with a lot of investors and other iBuyers that I may be able to find other offers for you as well. So I usually just start with one and then I will reach out and use that conversation, but it gets you in the door. So I have an Excel spreadsheet that I created that I just call a net sheet, and it's 2 columns comparing if I listed it versus if they took that offer. And so if I get the offer before I go to the listing appointment, I will create that sheet and then they can kind of see their walk away of both. And you can say, it's a $10,000 difference. Does that $10,000 appeal to you to not do showings, or do you want every penny? And you'll kind of learn where they're at, and then they kind of see your value of what you're bringing. You're bringing them more than anybody else is. You're already bringing them options, which they're already like, oh, this girl's kind of knows what's going on, and they give you a little more credit, and then you can go the next step with them. But as for what you're asking about, like the percent, no one's ever even asked me, like, what do you make off of this? I just say, I like to give all of my sellers all the options I can. And this is just something that I'm able to take advantage of because I have cash buyers out there, and I don't even say the word open door or OfferPad, because whenever I call them back with the numbers, the final numbers, after I've turned in in the photos and I actually know the final offer, open door offer, I'll say your highest offer came back actually from Open Door, and this is it, and this is the process. And they may ask me if I get paid, and I say, yeah, I get less than if we list it, but they do take care of me, and I think this is a much easier option for you. And then it's never even a question.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, during that process, you're still involved, and you're still essentially you're representing them, so you're representing the seller, right? So that's another thing to remember. The Open Door does not have the representation to the seller, right? They don't have a fiduciary. Your value comes in as a fiduciary to the seller, and the seller again, is not paying your commission. It comes from the Open Door as a referral fee.
So if you share with them that you have this Open Door offer that you could present and have Open Door take it from there. I guess what I'm thinking is, if I'm a seller and I want all the money or the most money I think I can get, I guess, okay, so you pull, as an agent, you got the offer from Open Door, so you've got some protection, right? So in other words, the seller doesn't go as soon as they say, okay, bye, thanks for coming by, I'll call you tomorrow. Then they go Open Door themselves and they get their own offer looking for more money.
So once that address is in the system for that next 7 days, you kind of own that address. They can't do that. You've kind of got a competing factor. So Open Door does protect themselves that way, where like us as agents, we can't like all 5 of us go put the same address in and go get an offer to present. So sometimes you'll go out there, you found one of, a FSBO that you want, you want to see if you can get, and it says, it looks like we're already talking to you, or there's or sometimes they'll just deny it. And that's that reason it's already been inquired.
As I was asking the question, I was.
Yeah, that definitely happens. But that's one of the reasons I don't always throw out OfferPad, Open Door, those names, because you don't want them to go do that, on their own. And so you just say, I have cash buyers that would like to make an offer, because until they accept that offer, they really don't need to know who it's from. And even with it, like, so let's say they do decide to go that route. I always tell them, I am with you along every step of the way, but they're going to take care of most, but I'll be in communication too, to make sure everything happens. And so they still bring you in where you're, as the agent, what's going on, because if they need other info, because a lot of times for sell by owners, they'll quit answering the emails or the questions from Open Door. And so you get involved and you answer it for them to help push it along to closing.
Got it. We're still taking a listing agreement, isn't that correct? No. Open Door, we're not representing the seller.
It's almost like a referral agreement is really what it is. You're kind of have referred it now to Open Door for 1%. They are the ones. It's not a listing. It never goes live. It's literally just a purchase. It's like a non-MLS purchase, and it's getting purchased through Open Door. You're just really getting a 1% referral fee.
Clear enough.
Does that make more sense?
Yeah, totally clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And again, that's just another tool to use, right? Because you will have for sale by owners, or you will have, like, again, expired or canceled listings. They will tell you, well, do you have a buyer? Do you have somebody who's going to buy my house, right? Don't waste my time. Just bring me a buyer. So in that case, you can just, again, bring, whether that's Open Door or OfferPad, there are other investors that are out there that are buying homes, right? Just bring them an offer, a legit offer, and introduce that offer, present that offer to them. It's completely up to them. And like Toby does, like, look, this is the offer for my investor. This is what I think we can get on the open market. Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, make a decision, right? Make a decision. And if it's only $5,000, $10,000, maybe it makes sense to go through the investor. If it's $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, probably the traditional market is the way to go, right? But you got to have those tools available to you guys when you're going out there, just because the fact that, again, that's another value proposition that you offer, okay? Thanks, Max. I appreciate all the questions. Toby, thank you so much. All right, let's continue, guys. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, leave something with them, right? This is important. A lot of times agents go, they bring their business card, they maybe bring one piece of paper or something like that, and that's pretty much it. Absolutely not. You got to bring something in addition to it. For instance, I know our title company has a for sale by owner home selling guide. Bring that with you. That includes the samples of the contracts, addendums, the Benzer and everything like that. It shows sample on the pages, but more importantly, it has your information on it. Bring your marketing book with you as well. Make sure you also bring the top 10 most searched home sites for the for sale by owner to look at, right? It can be Zillow, it can be realtor.com, it can be Redfin, whatever it is. Again, provide value, bring value, deliver with value, okay? But leave something behind, because here's what happens. You got to be able to stand out, especially if they're going to be talking to multiple agents. They're going to be having meeting with multiple agents. You got to somehow stand out. And the best way to do it, one of the best ways to do it, is to leave something behind so they can put it on their coffee table. They can put it on a kitchen counter. They can put it on their office desk. Your info is very, very important. Okay. Have a follow-up schedule. Here's another thing. That's I think, like, look, most of the for sale by owners are not going to be ready to sign with you right there on the spot. It just doesn't happen, right? What's really going to separate you or make you stand out from a lot of other agents out there is the follow-up schedule and sequences, right? Here's what I suggest you do. You call for sale by owners on Mondays. Why Mondays? Well, because they are looking forward to the weekend. They're thinking the weekend is going to be the busiest for them of the week. They're probably going to do an open house on Saturday, or maybe do another one on Sunday. And here's what happens, especially with the market been shifting, they're not going to get that many people in the door. They're not going to get that many offers. So Sunday evening, they're sitting, both husband and wife, and the husband says, you know what, Mary, I don't know. We've been doing this for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. We only had 3 showings, no offers. There's one buyer that's trying to offer us $80,000 less than we're asking for it. Maybe we should call that agent Alan that was here a few days ago, and I got an email from him. Okay, and here's what you do as an agent. You call them on Monday, like you're reading their mind. You call them on Monday and you say, hey, you know, John and Mary, it's Alan with Best Homes Real Estate. I don't know if you remember, we met each other last week. I just wanted to circle back in our conversation. I felt like we have a lot of synergy. I feel like we can definitely help you with selling your home for a top dollar. Would you be open in me stopping by and presenting my marketing strategy to you? Right? And that's really the follow-up call that you want to do, ideally on Mondays, every single Monday. Okay. Same thing with calling and texting. I would send out 1 video a week to for sale by owners. Create 5 or 6 or 7 videos, educational tips on really, you know, selling as a for sale by owner. One can be about the fact that, like, what to look for when you have a buyer that is looking to write an offer, right? Another one, how to stand out as a listing. Another one, for example, 4 tips on improving the showing condition of your home without spending too much money, right? Like, all of those videos you guys can do 2-3 minute videos. And then you have the KV Core, or you have Commissions Inc. that can send out these videos, or you can manually send out these videos on a weekly basis to for sale by owners. That's why it's so important for you to get their email address and their phone number, so you can do both. You can email to them and you can also text them. Okay, but that's got to be part of your, like, weekly routine with for sale by owners, especially if you're going to make that one of your lead sources. You're probably going to go on 3, 4, 5 for sale by owner appointments every single week. And you're going to have a database. You're going to be able to track them and follow up with them on a weekly basis if you really want to convert them on a high level. Questions on this slide?
Yeah, I have a quick question in regards to the videos. Can we recycle those videos to different customers?
Almost definitely.
Yeah, you know, because I would hate to, well, not hate, but I mean, wouldn't it just be more time efficient if, you know, customer A, I send them 5, 6 videos, customer B, I send them the same videos, and just have those videos like in my database?
Yeah. So for example, with our CRMs like Sync and also KV Core, you can create plans, right, or campaigns for sale by owners. And every week, let's say on Sunday or let's say on Tuesday, they will get a video from you. So let's say, for example, you got one for sale by owner this week, right? You assign them to that campaign. Next week, there's a different for sale by owner. You assign them to the same campaign. They're not going to get the same videos. Okay. But you can have 6 or 7 or 8 videos spread out for the next 6 or 7 or 8 weeks. Now, every single week, they're getting something of a value from you in addition to the phone call.
Makes
Does that
sense.
make
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
This is a must, by the way. Again, aside from leaving all of the marketing collateral there, okay, at their house, this is a biggest one. And a lot of times agents come way short with this because they're thinking, oh, you know what? If he did not list with me, if he did not sign with me that day, that means he will not work with me or he will not give me a chance. That's absolutely very short-sighted. If you guys are going to make that phone call, if you guys are going to spend time in driving, in some cases 30, 40 minutes to meet the seller, and then spend another 45 minutes to an hour being there, and then coming back, all right, complete the mission. And that means your follow-up. Most of your business will come from your follow-up, not from the first meeting, guys. Keep that in mind. This is very, very, very critical. And by the way, you can get the video tips from Tristan. He's got a bunch of them.
Alan, I want to add one more thing if I can. The follow-up is huge, and make sure when you're following up, you know your stuff. So if there's other listings in the neighborhood that have went under contract, or if anything going on like that, know it, because they're watching what's going on. And it's only to your advantage if the other ones are listed by agents and they're under contract and they're not, or the pricing, that can help you too. But you don't want to be, when you call back, you don't want to just act like another cold call, like, oh, they answered, I'm talking. Go in there with information and talk about their neighborhood like you're still you're invested in what they're going through.
Love it. Thanks, Toby. All right, so where do you get for sale by owner information or data? Toby mentioned to us that you can get that from Zillow. All right, so Zillow is for free. You can go right now on Zillow, go to for sale by owner tab and see all the for sale by owners by zip code, right? And then you can also get the notifications set up. So every time there's a for sale by owner, a new for sale by owner, or a price reduction, right, you're going to get a notification, right? So set that up on Zillow. It's for free. There are phone numbers all the way in the bottom. You can reach out to them on a daily basis, okay? Now, if you wanted to have a little bit more organized version of it, there are for sale by owner data sources that you can buy. You can buy actually like a tool like Mojo or RedX. It's a monthly subscription. For instance, I think Mojo with the dialer, my gosh, I think it's like $100. RedX, I think with the dialer, it's kind of pretty much $75 or $100. But there are a couple of different websites or tools that are utilized where they call them for sale by owner aggregates, right? They also offer you expired listings and cancel listings, also like circle prospecting lists, right? You generate them on a daily basis and then you can call them from there. Again, it depends. I mean, you can start this thing for nothing, all right? Just go through Zillow and get the numbers. Craigslist, surprisingly, people are still listing Craigslist. For salebyowner.com, I don't believe you can get the phone numbers there anymore. It used to be the case, not anymore. And then for sale by signs, I picked up a bunch of for sale by owner listings without seeing them on Zillow. I was just driving in the neighborhood and I see for sale by owner sign. I take a picture of it. I called it for sale by owner. It's like, oh yeah, I'm in North Dakota. It's like, North Dakota, so you don't live in this house? Oh no, this was a rental property. I had a big fight with my tenants. I finally evicted them. The house needs a little bit of work. I'm trying to sell it. It's like, oh, somebody's helping you here? Oh, nobody's helping me. I got my cousin who kind of like watches it, but that's pretty much it. So this guy is trying to sell a $450,000 house from North Dakota. Do you think he will use my services or find, beneficial to use my services? Absolutely. How did I get his information? I saw the for sale sign. I called him up. It was a 10-minute conversation. I followed up, was another 20-minute conversation. I sent him the listing agreement via DocuSign. He signed it. I had a listing. I had many listings like that, by the way. So don't think for a second, because there's a for sale by owner sign it's on Zillow or it's on any other website. And don't think also that there are a bunch of agents that are actually calling or hounding or this and that. That's not the truth. Most of the agents do not call for sale by owners. Why? Because they have this mental block. They think for some reason when they call for sale by owner, they're going to get yelled at. Or they're not going to work with them, or they don't want to pay commission, or they don't feel like their services are valuable enough. Whatever the reason is, you got to be able to block all of that stuff out, okay? For sale by owners, every single day, they raise their hand and they have a for sale by owner sign, and basically they're asking you, please sell my house. And you got to be able to come in and help them. That's what we have to do. Any questions about any of these for sale by owner data tools? All right, so this is an example of the property that I was talking to you guys about that I sold, that was listed for $624, $625. They had two offers, one $595. By the way, this was like about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, by the way, the same sellers, I just sold their house like 3 months ago in Goodyear for $895,000 that they bought from me for $490,000 back in 2017 or 18. So again, I took a haircut. I think listed for like a 1.5%, 1.75% listing. From this listing, I was able to get 2 additional listings in the same neighborhood, sold those 2, and the same people called me up about 5 months ago, 6 months ago. We listed their house in Goodyear. We listed initially for $975. I saw the market was shifting. We lowered it to $895. We got another contract for $895. We closed it. So one for sale by owner, multiple transactions. Okay, so hopefully you guys see the benefit and the value in working for sale by owners. I hope I was able to not convince you, but at least share my my opinion and why I think you should definitely make that as one of your main lead sources if you want to pick up listings. The biggest thing from this takeaway, guys, is the fact that the possibilities are endless. Don't think that every for sale by owner out there is not willing to work with you. Don't think that every for sale by owner there has got a bunch of agents that calling them. That's not the case, okay? What you gotta do is you gotta schedule the time. Do this every day, ideally. That's how you're gonna get better. Not every phone call is gonna be the best. Not every phone call is gonna end up an appointment. Not every phone call, you're gonna be like, man, you know what? I'm really getting a hang of it. No, the best way to do this is sit down for an hour, for an hour and a half, for 2 hours, and make these conversations happen, right? And learn from each conversation with the goal that you want to be able to go and see them in person, drive out, meet with them, have a conversation, be real, be genuine, ask them lots of questions, offer solutions. Offer solutions. There's a lot of stuff that you can offer to them that they're not privy to or they take for granted. There's a lot involved in selling the house right now. Those days when things are just going left and right under contract, those days are over. In several markets around the valley right now, it's already a buyer's market. It passed the balance market. It's already in a buyer's market. Queen Creek, Maricopa. Those are 2, and then there's a third one. I don't remember which one was it. It's already in a buyer's market. They're not even a balanced market anymore. What does that tell you? Opportunities. Opportunities for you to get that listing, leverage that listing, generate additional business from that listing, and then get it sold by pricing it correctly. That's the key. You gotta price it correctly, or have price adjustments or improvements on a bi-weekly basis. That should be, as a matter of fact, if you feel like you're overpricing the listing, that should be in the listing agreement, additional terms and conditions, that every 2 weeks, you're gonna discuss the market conditions, okay? And you're gonna be looking to improve the price of the home. That has to happen right now. Why? If it does not, Here's the reality. You list the house, you spend all your time and energy, okay? And guess what the seller does? If they don't see any results, if they don't see any showings, if they don't see any contracts coming in, they're gonna cancel the listing. You just wasted your time and money. So make sure you run the comms. Here's another thing that you want to do when it comes to the comms, guys. This is very, very important. Very important. If you're looking at the comms right now, you got to look ideally at the active listings. Active listings. What has sold 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, most likely it's outdated. Most likely you will not get the same price. You got to look at what is currently active in that neighborhood, in that subdivision, and ideally lowered by 2, 3, 4, 5% in order to stand out. You have to do that. That's got to be done. Okay. So again, taking the massive action, scheduling the time, showing up, working hard, learning, watch the YouTube videos. I'm always available, by the way, as a resource, guys. Toby is available as a resource. If you have questions, if you have concerns, there's going to be days when you're going to start thinking this is not working out. There are going to be days when you're going to be disappointed, discouraged. It's part of the process. If you give it 90 days to work this lead source or anything else in life, okay, you will get better. And if you do this for 1 year, you're probably going to be the best, one of the best. Okay, but there's money to be made, maybe enough, not at front end, but on the back end if they decide to buy, or from the open houses and sign calls that you're going to be able to generate. Okay, guys. All right. So I think that's about it. Any questions, any feedback before we wrap this up?
Hey, Alan, quick question, Adolfo here.
What's up, my man?
Hey, so obviously, well, I know you guys talked about the open door for the for sale by owner and whatnot, but even in the end you mentioned, definitely looking at the active listings. Honestly, from my experience, even not necessarily looking at the area around that property, the subdivision, but actually even looking outside of that, because that's where we get caught up with, you know, thinking that it's just in the area, but you know, people are looking everywhere where they're able to find a deal. But my question is, if a listing isn't selling, wouldn't open door be an option as well, like you mentioned earlier for sale by owner?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, if
The
the listing is not selling after a few weeks, and you're seeing that your sellers are getting antsy, you gotta again utilize every tool in the toolbox. Forget about the ego part of it. Forget about the fact that you told them initially that you can get X for the house, and now it looks like with the shifting market, it's Y. I had to do that with 2 of my listings in the last 4 months, 5 months, guys. One of them I just mentioned to you right there in Goodyear. We listed for $975. Why? Because the same type of a property sold a month and a half, 2 months earlier for $975. I said, okay, no big deal. Let's list it for $975. Guess what? After about a week and a half to 2 weeks, we only had 1 showing or 2 showings, and they said it's overpriced. So I had to like basically tell them, hey guys, if you really want to sell this house, we got to cut the price. And we cut it by $95,000. And we got it under contract that weekend. Right now, I don't think they would get even $800,000. Why? Because 2 weeks later, there was the same house that went on the market, and it was under contract for $817,000. Here's the second one. I listed a house right here on 83rd Avenue in Happy Valley, gated community, for $1.6 million. Again, same thing, not that many showings, overpriced. We lowered by $50,000. We wanted to lower by another $50,000. We got an offer for $1.275 million cash. My seller at first said, I don't want to take it. I don't want to deal with it. They can go scratch themselves, whatever that is. I said, look, Jim, we can sit here for another month or 2 months or 3 months. Here's the reality of the situation. The market is shifting. We're going to be chasing the market. There are houses similar to this one that are priced $150,000, $200,000 less, and they're sitting for 35, 45, 60 days. Can you take a chance? You're moving to Florida. You have another house in Florida that you're trying to close on. Let's work with these guys. We did work with them. They upped the price. We closed it for $1.325 million last week. So this guy, Jim, my client, by the way, I sold his house 4 years ago for $2 million right off Pinnacle Peak and 67th Avenue. He calls me up, says, I just wanted to let you know, at first I was angry at you because you told me we can sell it for 1.6. But after thinking about this whole thing, I thank you, my wife thanks you for getting this done and for nudging us in accepting this offer. We're relieved. So that's the type of conversations you got to have with your sellers. They are relying on you, okay? You the expert, not them. You're doing your due diligence. They may do it, but you're the one who have to be constantly looking at the market, seeing what's happening with the market, and then conveying that information, that data to your sellers on a weekly basis. Here's another thing that you got to do right now. Every week, you have to system in place where you send them everything that you have done to market and promote your listing. That has to be done. Those days when you just listed and get multiple offers within 2 or 3 days and feeling like you're a winner, those days are over. Every week, you have to have a system of everything that you've done as a realtor to try to sell their house. That can be open houses, that can be the showings, that can be promoting on Facebook, that can be talking to the agents on a team, that can be doing a broker's tour. Whatever you're doing to promote and market your house, that listing, you have to be able to share it, ideally in the email format, to your clients on a weekly basis. It has to be done. Why? Because the sellers are getting antsy. Sellers are looking for quick solutions. Sellers, if they don't hear from you, if they don't see that you're doing anything, they're going to be looking at another agent. They're going to cancel the listing. They're not going to give you 3 months. They're not going to give you 4 months. In some cases, they're not even going to give you 2 months. They will cancel the listing and find more competent agent who, by the way, will come in, lower the price, and get it sold. Because at the end of the day, it's not about you most of the time. It's about the price. Market dictates the price, not the listing agent. Now, unless you have shitty pictures and the description is not this or this and that, but for the most part, everything's equal, okay? What's really gonna dictate whether this house is gonna get sold or not is the price. And market dictates that price. And that's the type of conversation you gotta have with your sellers from day one. Set expectations, manage those expectations. Set expectations, manage those expectations. That's how you're going to be able to sell your listings. Otherwise, man, half of them are going to go unsold, canceled, and you just wasted time and money.
Transparency. I mean, it's apparent that you have to be clear with people, right? And develop that trust, Alan, because I see what you're saying. It's all right, you want the market, you want the house to sit there for 60 days, or you want to sell it in a week?
Yeah, and you're gonna have sellers that are gonna say, well, we have time. All right, cool, we have time. Well, let's do this then. Every 2 weeks, we're gonna revisit our conversation. Every 2 weeks, we're gonna analyze the market. Every 2 weeks, we're gonna see what's currently going on in terms of competition, what's currently active, how many people or how many homes lower the price, how many of them got on the contract, and we're gonna revisit and see if we can improve the price. Fair enough? Okay, sounds good, great. Put it in the agreement. Again, if you are not selling that house, you're not making money.
Yeah.
And on top of it, if you're not leveraging that house by holding open houses, okay, you're not making money. That's why every listing right now, unless of course they're super strict, okay, every listing right now, you have to say, look, I'm going to be holding at least 1 open house a week. I'm going to try to shoot for 2 open houses a week. Would you be open to that? Would you give me that option? Well, Alan, open houses don't really work. They're a bunch of looky-loos. Well, I have to disagree with you on that. Why? Because my job as a realtor is to massively expose your listing to as many eyeballs as possible. And that means the neighbors who, by the way, know other people that are looking to move into your neighborhood. Would you agree with that? Yeah. Okay, so 2 open houses a week, Saturday and Sunday. Would that work for you? Okay, yeah, that's it. But that's got to be done every single week. And again, updates, weekly updates got to be done every single week, as well as the feedback from the showings got to be done every single week. You track all of them, ideally in Excel spreadsheet for that particular property. You call every agent, you text every agent, you copy and paste the feedback that you get through showing time every time. And once a week, you send that feedback sheet to the seller. That's got to be done. You want to show the seller that you're fully, completely engaged in selling of their house. It has to be done, guys. Otherwise, here's what they're doing. They're going open door. They're calling that company 70 something. They're calling another agent who's been farming that neighborhood for a year and a half. And you're going to end up losing the listing. And that's a $10, $15, $20, $30,000 commission check.
Hey, Alan, would you recommend or suggest even to get an appraisal to even, so because some people feel that if you get appraisal, let's say the house appraised at 400 and you list it at 390 or 385, then they may feel like they're getting the deal.
I mean, you could. I mean, if they're willing to pay $600 for an appraiser, that's fine.
Well, I just maybe thinking of it as maybe like a sale that they already have equity, because people buyers are obviously afraid of the houses continuing to depreciate or drop.
The reality of the matter is we are now in a shifting market, and shifting market not going up. It's not trending up, it's trending down. Okay, so by you appraising it now, things are maybe a little bit different 30 days from now, 45 days from now. Right? So if it's a tract home in a subdivision and you have similar homes in that subdivision that are currently active for 490 and they've been sitting there for 30 days, 35 days, and the comps showing 540, 550, 60 days ago, or 90 days ago, or 120 days ago, where would you list that house right now if everything's equally the same?
Lower.
Right. If they want to sell, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's the conversation you got to have with them, right? And I'm not standing here and saying, look, you're going to have scenarios where they say, no, I want to get 500 for it. I want to get 520 for it. I mean, trust me, I've been in those situations many times. They feel like their house is the best looking house on the block. It always happens. Oh, I spent so much money on this thing. I spent so much money on that thing. This, and that. It's going to happen. It comes back to the motivation. It comes back to setting expectations, right? Say, Mr. Seller, I completely understand. I mean, you feel like your house is number one, the best looking and everything like that. I tell you what, let's compromise. We're going to list it for 520 with that every 2 weeks, you and I are going to have a conversation. We're going to evaluate the market and see where we're at. We're going to get the feedback from the buyers and the buyers agents that looked at your home and from the open houses that we conducted. And based on that feedback, we will then make an educated decision how we want to proceed. Fair enough? If I'm talking to you this way, for example, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to the idea of having a further discussion.
Cool, right? So that's what you do, but you're setting those expectations, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not telling the seller that I will get you 520. You're telling, look, we're going to list it for 520, but every 2 weeks we're going to revisit our conversation. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Why? Because at the end of the day, you want to sell the house, right?
Yeah, and I think additionally, a lot of these people have equity on their homes, so you kind of have to bring it down to what they invested into it. So I know a lot of people want to sell at the top, which is not going to happen. So at the very least, they're still gaining capital gain from it.
Exactly. And then what Vicky said in the chat, hi Vicky, is the longer it sits, again, the market is not going in anybody's favor, right? Unless tomorrow they decide to lower the rates back to 2.5%, okay, the market is going to continue to decline. The longer they sit, okay, the more competition there is, they're going to be chasing the market, okay? And again, that's the conversation you have to have with them. Say, look, 4 months ago, there were 5,000 homes currently on the market, or they were active on the market. Now it's 20,000 homes. 4 months ago, 5 months ago, there were only like 6 listings in this particular area. Now you have 45 listings in this area. This is your competition right here. If you're a buyer, would you just go with this one, with yours, which is $20,000, $30,000 above everything else in a marketplace? If you would be the buyer, or you would go with something that is $30,000, $40,000 below. Why would the buyer pay $30,000, $40,000 more, especially with the interest rates being at 5.5%, 6%? But these are the type of conversations you got to have with the seller, right? Again, educating them, walking them through the steps, showing them the data, making the market conditions as the bad guy. That's the key. Blaming the market, blaming the interest rate, blaming the inflation, blaming the slowdown in the economy, recession, blaming everybody for the fact that they cannot get $80,000 more that they were thinking of getting back in January, February. But you got to have those conversations, folks, because if not, man, I'm telling you, they're going to blame you. And the conversation is going to go like this. Look, you had it for about a month and a half. We only had 3 showings, no offers. My wife is pissed. Every time there's a showing, she has to clean this. She has to do that. We got to get the dogs out. We got to get the kids out. It's 110 degrees outside. I'm tired. I want to cancel. They cancel. They list with somebody else that lists for $50,000 less. I've been there many times. And it's not the best conversation to have. But that's why I'm having this conversation with you guys, because in the coming weeks and months, you guys are all going to have opportunities to list. And this is an exciting opportunity, and you should all take advantage of it. This is really going to take your business to the next level if you position yourself correctly. Not just taking listings for the sake of taking listings, it's taking listings, setting expectations, educating managers of expectations, and getting it sold, because listings are still getting sold. You just have to price it correctly from day one, ideally. All right.
Thanks, Alan. Good stuff.
You got it, brother. Anyone else? All right, guys. Well, listen, I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I know we went over the time. Usually it's an hour, but we're almost doing this 2 hours. But I appreciate all of you being here, attending this thing, your questions, your feedback. Toby, thank you so much for all of the things that you shared. Again, like I said, I'm always available, right? So, if you do have questions for sell-by owners, pricing your listing, doing price reductions, whatever it is, you can always text me. You can text your success managers. We're here for you guys. We want to make sure that, especially right now, the way the market is, guys, this is the time to double down. This is the time to triple down. Okay, this is the time right now to take market share. There are a lot of agents out there that are paralyzed with everything that is going on. This is the time for you guys to go and get it done. For sell by owners is one of the best ways of generating listings. The best ways. Take advantage of it. All right, guys?
Thank you, Alan.
Here, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you,
Bye.
Alan. Have a nice day, everybody.
You got it.